welcome, Faye.
Thank
Introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about yourself.
all right. So thank you. Thank you, Michelle. No,
Is it
okay, awesome. So thank you again, Fay Michelle. I am Fay Latrice, also known as Fay Reynolds, and there's a backstory about Latrice, but maybe I'll get into that later. So
sure?
I am a mother first, right? A grandmother, a mother of five, grandmother of eight. Uh,
Hey,
I, yes, eight. My oldest grandson is 16, believe it or not, and my youngest is a year and a half. He'll actually be 2 in July. I,
wow.
yeah. I am a author. I like to call myself a sideline coach, a purpose partner sideline coach. And that's my purpose work. And by day, I am a consultant for healthcare. I have the pleasure of working in the field of diversity, equity, inclusion services, which is really big right now, right? It has its
Mhm.
phases, and this is one of them. And also oversee interpreter services as well as care experience. So I absolutely love what I do by day, but I equally love what I do after hours and on weekends. And also DJ a little bit on the side, just a little bit. Pandemic shut it down just a little, and I haven't done a lot, but it's allowed me to refocus on how I even enter that space. So it'll be a lot different from what I used to do. I used to kind of do it all, like every kind of music, everything. So I'm shifting on that approach because I really, really want to give more time to what is my passion right now, and that is the book, A Life
Okay.
of Living, Loving, and Forgiving, and merch, because merch is new to me, but I'm loving that space also. But yeah, so that's a lot.
Okay. All right. So, do you have a copy of your book?
I do. Mhm.
Okay. Can you just put it up there? All right. All right. That is the book. All
Yes.
right. So this is your new love. And you also said that you're doing merch. Do you have a shirt available close
I,
by?
I do. I do.
Oh,
So
oh, you're ready. Okay. All right.
I have
Ready.
hoodies. So
Wow.
now I have ooh, sorry about the noise because they're already packaged. I had my niece come over and help because I thought I could do it. And my daughter said, Mom, you're going to package 100 hoodies. So I have black and white hoodies. And I'm also working on t-shirts because, the weather is changing here on the West Coast. So I'm
Yes.
going to have t-shirts probably by the end of April, and a
Okay.
journal. The journal will probably be before the t-shirts, but that's coming really soon. So I'm just really, immersing myself into all of the possibilities, and you know about this too, all of the possibilities and opportunities when you're an author, especially if you want to, take it to the next level, if you want more people to know about what you do. Because
Hmm.
honestly, when I wrote this book, I wrote it because I felt my story was worth telling to my family and friends. I didn't
Hmm.
realize that it's equally worth sharing with the world. So I hadn't thought about merch and some of the other things. I was like one and done. I wrote this book, I'm done. I had mentioned earlier that it was worse. It was like giving birth, but worse than actually child labor because of the length of time that it took. And
How
anybody
long did it take you?
So it was planted in me over 20 years ago, because I had shared my story with people that were, in my circle at that time. And a lot of times the reaction was, girl, you should write a book, or that should be a movie. And I'm thinking, really? Because when it's your life, it's all you know. But
Yes.
I always said, okay, I'm going to write a book. And I probably talked about it for about 10 years before I actually started writing. And then once I started writing, it became painful and it was a little challenging. And I'm like, maybe I'm not
Mhm.
ready. So I went from writing a book that was going to be like an autobiography to, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'll make a fiction book. Then that way I could do what I want. I can embellish it. I could have different characters. It could be a fiction book based on facts or an actual, story or a real story. And then I started doing that. And that was challenging because the story is the same, whether I present it in fiction or fact, right?
Right.
I had to get over that. And I had a couple of people who said, well, I'll help you. And one friend in particular really helped me for a while. But at the end of the day, I realized it was something I needed to do. And the pandemic. So I'm going to say up until 2020, I probably had about 30–40% of the book written. And I knew the format and how it was going to look. But 2020, our pandemic, year, gave me the gift of time and focus. And I didn't take advantage of it right away. I literally, probably the first part of the year, kept saying, oh, this is perfect. We're shut in, locked in. I'm going to write. But I was never, I never stopped going to work. So I was considered an essential worker, and I still had to go to work every day. And by the time I got off of work, we couldn't do much, right? I tell people the only thing we had was going to the store. And for me, that was Costco, Target, and Trader Joe's. That's all I had. I kind of got tired of all three of them. But that was like my getting my outlet. And on weekends, I just binged on TV and Netflix and Hulu and everything else, like many people did. And then finally, I had done some of my vision purpose networking events where I just fill spaces with people so that we can talk about dreams and ideas and encourage each other. So one of my friends, a close friend of mine, could not attend one of those events. And she sent me a message because I told her, I said, well, maybe, we can hook up on this, that, or the other. So basically, she missed out on 2 or 3, occasions of us getting together. And she finally sent me this text message. And this was my game changer as far as getting things in motion. She sent me a text message and she said, and this is not verbatim, but summarizing it. She said, I'm sorry that I missed getting together, but I have to take advantage of this time. God is dealing with me and I need to be still. So I may not show up. So she was basically letting me know that she may not show up to everything. Don't be upset, but she really needs this time to commune with God and to get some things in order because it's what we had. We have the gift of time. And when I read that, I was like, shame on me. I'm out here still trying to connect, do events, binge watching TV, in the store way too much, the same stores, don't need anything. I'm fine, right? It's just me. And here she is disciplined enough to say, I need to be still and I need to let God deal with me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take that and I'm going to use that for me. I need to be still. And from that day, and that was probably, I'm going to say maybe May or June, I decided I'm going to stop and I'm going to focus and write this book. And it was still challenging because that was the easy part. The easy part was saying, I'm going to focus and I'm going to write this book. But the hard part was facing my stories because my stories were, I'm still healing from some of it. So again, 2020 was my year. I was able to get it done. And I kept giving myself deadlines. And I have a different perspective on deadlines. But I kept giving myself all these deadlines like, okay, I'm going to release it on my birthday, August 27th. Was not ready, but a little bit of pride snuck in. So what I decided to do was I'm going to do a Zoom birthday party announcing the book. Because first it was going to be a book release. Then I said, no, I'm just going to announce the book. I can't have a real birthday party, which I like to do every year, right? So I'm just going to announce the book. So I had about, I don't know, maybe 70, 80 people in Zoom. And I just talked about the book was coming soon. The book did not come until December 15th. So on December 15th, after weeks and weeks of going back and forth with different editors, having close family and friends read it, and all of these little hiccups, I finally just pulled the trigger, right? I just pushed play and said, just do it. So I released the book on December 15th, which is my youngest daughter's birthday, because I like to connect significant dates with release dates, right?
Right.
With that. But guess what? I didn't even tell anybody. Only a few people knew I released it. And in January, like mid-January, I went on social media and I said, hey, you guys, I released the book December 15th. And then a lot of sales started happening. And so that's kind of my story as far as it was a long journey. It was like I felt, oh, this is another thing. The day that I hit play or hit publish on Amazon, I really thought the days leading up to it, I said, oh my God, this is going to be so exciting. On December 15th, my daughter's birthday, I'm going to hit publish and I'm going to celebrate. I know we can't do anything because of the pandemic, but I'm going to get some friends on Zoom or I'm going to do something. And it was so exciting. I could like feel the buildup. But guess what? When I hit publish, none of that happened. I felt so overwhelmed. I was already overwhelmed, but this was a different feeling. I don't know if you've ever felt it before. Mm-hmm. Different type of feeling of being overwhelmed. Like I thought I was going to be excited and I wasn't. I was emotionally drained. I was emotionally all over the place. And I like to say that writing the book was, telling my story was easy because I've been telling my story for years, right? Mm-hmm. Writing the book was challenging, but hitting publish was emotional. And I wasn't prepared for that because I didn't expect that. I had to reach out to a few other authors and say, hey, how come I'm not excited? How come I'm not ready to celebrate,
right.
Tell the world. And they said, nah, it's like that, but it'll come. So it finally came. It came when I shared on social media that the book released
and the feedback.
And then it came, it came and it's been great ever since. So it was a long labor.
So you feel like once you press that button, you didn't really feel the overjoyment of the excitement that came, but you felt overwhelmed and more like in a meltdown type of space than the having a party type.
I felt like, what did I just do?
What did I just do? Okay. Yes, absolutely. So what I feel like you're saying is that once you hit that button and you released it, it's that same feeling when your kids go away to college.
Yeah.
And you open that car door to get in, to leave them behind.
Yeah.
And that feeling that you feel, you have the pride, you're excited for them, but that seed that's inside of now what happens, it's like you're opening the cage and letting your bird out. Yeah. And so which direction will it go in? What will happen after this point? It is an overwhelming feeling.
Yes.
And what do? You've released your story to the world. Much like we were talking about Malcolm and Marie. Once it's done, you can't get it back. You can't call it back. It's almost like it's my greatest work. What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
And I think that from here on out is what you're going to experience is the gift that keeps giving.
That part. 100% that part. Let me say this because
go ahead.
I'm thinking about that and I didn't have it so eloquently, right? The gift that keeps on giving. So when I released the book, when I hit publish before I shared it, I said one and done. I'm so over it. And then once I shared with the world that hey, or at least my world, right? That hey, out and people started buying it and giving me feedback. I got urge like, oh my God, I got to write another one. Like, hurry up. So my book 2, which I have not started. Well, I've started the outline, A Life Worth Celebrating on the lighter side. But I was all excited, but guess what it took to pull me back? I was listening to a Clubhouse. You've heard me talk about Clubhouse before. Mm-hmm. I was listening to an author or a publisher on Clubhouse, and someone on someone that had a question was saying how they had 10 books. No, they have 3 books published and like 7 more books that they're getting ready to publish. And she was like, hold up. So what are you doing with the 3 books that you published? And she said, I'm still marketing and promoting and da-da-da-da-da. And she said, you guys need to focus on the first book or two and get those to where you can get them before you start bringing in more books. She said some people get a rush on producing more and more and more, and you haven't done anything with what you have. And I'm like, I so needed that. I so needed that. So I was able to pump my brakes on overwhelming myself with a timeline on book two, and looking at it like, Fayette, I don't want to say exhausted your family and friend community with sharing your book. But there's a whole big world out there, right? So that's now you're right. It's the gift that keeps on giving as long as we allow it. So I like that.
Yes. It's not just the sale, okay? Like you said, you've overwhelmed your family and your friends with what you've done, but now you can take the time to just do you. That was this thing that had to be birthed. So I feel like you did the hard thing, and that was the initial birth, and it's almost like having your first child. And you finally did that. And then by the time the second one comes, it's equally as hard. And the pain is no less. However, you feel like you have this experience and you know what to expect. And that can be good or bad, you know, because I knew what to expect in that second pregnancy and I started hyperventilating. However, but you kind of get the other one out the way. And so now you can be an artist. You can be creative. You can let your gifts spread now. And that's probably why people have to do that second and third book and get it out of them, because you're tapping into your authoritude versus I had to get this book out. I had to get it's therapeutic. It's all of those things that are self-help versus now you can have the joy. And you will feel excited when you get ready to push that button on the second book. You know, so
I think you're right. You know what another thing is too, when I was pushing out the first book, I never thought of myself as an author. I used to literally say, I wrote a book, I'm writing a book, I'm a writer. And then one day it was like, you published it, you know that means you're author, right? It didn't even register. And now when I add it to my list of whatever, and I put author, it's like, wow, that's kind of heavy in itself. But it's a lot of emotions.
While I'm interviewing a lot of the other authors, they all come from different perspectives. Some people I can't even get to do the interviews because they're very introverted and shy, and they do these wonderful books and whatnot, and they're shy about it. Others are very proud about their work, and they have the one book and they're so proud about it, and it's great book, and they have all of these wonderful stories, these books that they have written. And that was one of the questions that I was going to ask, like, how many books have you not published? Because many authors have so many books inside that they have not published. And so my author yesterday, she had like about 7 different books inside that she had not laid a pencil to, because she's still feeding on that first book. And I think there is a little bit of hesitation because maybe it won't be as good. Maybe it's not as good as that one, or, you know, and so, and I can look at this here. This book right here, gotta have that green out. This was my first baby, but I had to let this baby go,
right,
so that the others could come. And you can see how dominant she looks in comparison to the full, and that's her face, right? But in comparison to the full body of prunes and graham crackers and milk, different clothes, even different expressions. But this little girl right here stands on her own.
Right.
And so a lot of things are built around her because it's just in that picture, because the statement was made with her. You know, so
I think for me too, just hearing the other publishers helped me not overwhelm myself or be so anxious about hurrying up. Like, you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So
It's okay. Yeah, I'm just like, you said, oh, I was just going to get my bachelor's degree, or I was just going to get my AA degree. Then you got hungry for the master's degree. And then it'll get to the point where, am I going to get my PH? So, but you never know,
you never
it
know.
might come. It just may come. And if the opportunity presents itself, you might find yourself doing it.
No, I went from a GED to a college degree. I dropped out when I was a junior. I was a mother already. And if you couldn't have told me even, I'm going to say 12 years ago, that you're going to go back to school. You're going to go back to school. Like, no, I'm not.
Yes.
Nope. Or even, but I started, it was so different going as an adult versus when I just wasn't in the right headspace. And then the whole thing with the bachelor's, it just happened. And the master's, I fought that. I was kicking and screaming. I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. But then there were 3 people close to me that were going through their master's. And I'm like, they make it look so easy. That time so fast. Just go ahead and do it.
Oh my goodness. Now, when you get ready to write your next book, you can have that label, Dr. Fay Latrice. Okay.
I talk to other people, they're like, I want to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book. And I'm like, really? But it's not a conversation we have. Like, hey, I'm thinking about writing a book. But when you do it, it's amazing at how many people want to. Like on that call, I know at least 5 people who are like saying, I want to write a book. That's why I added that question to get people thinking about it is, if your life was a book, what's the title? It's your first chapter, your last chapter, because, our whole life is a story, right? A series of stories.
Yes. Tell me the process that you went through when you were designing your book. So basically publishing your book. You use KDP and you also formatted it. So what process of that did you do alone, or did you source out?
Okay, so both. So my process, first of all, once I finished, before I even finished writing the book, I did something very unique because I needed a little motivation. I decided to design the cover. I had no idea what my cover would look like. So people kept saying Fiverr, Fiverr, Fiverr. I said, okay, let me check out Fiverr. So I reached out on Fiverr and found someone to create my book design. And I wasn't even finished the cover. When I saw the first one had some nature scene and another one had a silhouette, I just wasn't feeling those. But the one that I ended up with that you see now, when I saw that, I was like, this is different. And I saw the designer's work, and his work dealt with a lot of text. So when he did this, and we've made some variations, right? I was like, that is very different. I would have never thought of a white book, white background with just text. And it was something about it. It just stuck. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go with it. So the first thing I did, like I said, was I decided to design my cover before I even finished the book. Even though I could have easily changed it once the book was finished, I just gravitated to it. I did that using Fiverr. Again, used a couple of people, and the last one, it worked. Once the book was finished, I was ready to edit. So let me say, this is the biggest lesson that I learned with editing.
Yes, one of my questions. How was the editing?
Let me answer it now.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So when I thought I was finished with the book, probably in October, and it was released in December, I found the perfect person to edit. And beautiful sister, I could just tell her spirit, through our communication. And she's here, and she's from the States. And you know what I mean when I say that, because a lot of people on Fiverr are from all over the world.
Yes.
So I just really connected with her. But by the time I finished, she was no longer on Fiverr, and I was crushed and I was devastated because I actually sent her, before she wanted to work with me, she said, send me a couple of samples, like 200 words. And I sent her a part of a fiction part of the book, and then something that was real. Sent it to her, loved how she edited it. And I was like, I'm so ready. And I kept messaging her, all right, I'm ready. And she would never respond. And I found out she wasn't on Fiverr anymore. So I found someone else, and they edited the book, and they did what is more of a proof edit, right? They did all the grammatical stuff, more around periods and commas, because I'm the comma queen. Periods, commas, and punctuate, like a lot of punctuation stuff, maybe some spelling typos. So once I got it back from her, and that was about $100 and I thought, oh, that's cool.
Right.
Once I got it back from her, I was talking to another friend of mine, an author who ended up writing the foreword for the book, Miss Colleen Sykes-Ray.
Yeah.
So when I got the book back, I was talking to Colleen, and I said, oh my goodness, my book is edited, but I still feel like I need to go over it again. And she said, wow, that's good. That was quick. She said, yeah, my editor keeps asking me more questions. And I'm like, my editor didn't ask me questions. What are you talking about? She said, yeah, she keeps asking me questions, and it's kind of uncomfortable. So basically what she was saying was her editor was challenging her to go deeper and to address certain things in the book that weren't clear. I said, my editor didn't do that. My editor did a spell check.
Right. Proofreading.
Proof. And then I said, is your editor available? And she said, no, because she's mine. I said, okay. Research editors, and I discovered that there are different types of editors. There's copy editors, there's proof editors, there's content editors, there's development editors.
Yes.
I said, I think I need a content editor. And that's how I found Elena, who was on, the show or the event. And while looking for content editors before I found her, because I was specific, I want a content editor, I found quite a few, and I'm going to be transparent. I didn't find any that looked like me. And that's really what I wanted, because I wanted somebody Black or African-American that I felt we could connect, right?
Right.
I didn't find anybody. At least the few that I found, they did specific genres. Like one of them was children's book. And another, to be honest with you, was just way out of my price range. But the majority did not look like me, and they were from all over the place, but I just wasn't connecting with them. So I reached out to Elena based on her bio. And Elena is from Russia, but she lives in Canada. And she has a heavy accent. I didn't even know that until we talked, but I could tell, you can read how people type, or when they type, you could like almost hear what it might sound like. So anyway, actually had her do 2 edits. I had her do, an initial edit where she was asking me questions. So I had to go deeper. She was like, well, how were you feeling when this happened?
That.
What was going on at this time? Or where was your mother? Things that people might think about when you're, how you're reading something and you're like, oh, I wonder what happened, or I wonder what did they do, or how. She did that type. She did that type of depth. So the book increased by like 25%. It increased by like 25% because of that. And it made me rethink it. So once I did all of her suggestions or addressed her questions, I needed it to be edited again. So I hired again to do the second edit. So it worked out, but I still wasn't 100% comfortable. So I had my daughter, Erica. I asked a few friends who's willing to read the book. I got some author's copies, which I absolutely love that you can do that before you release it. And I had my daughter and a close friend, because I reached out and asked, hey, who wants to read it? But you have a very short turnaround time. I need somebody that could do this in 2-3 days. So if you don't have time, it's good.
Yes.
I just wanted to get it done. I'm like, it's like December already. So the 2 people that did it, one of them helped me do some writing when it was going to be a fiction book. Interviewed some of my family members. And the other one was my daughter. I was surprised because Erica reached out to me and said, hey, Mom, did you find people to read your book? And I said, yeah, a couple of friends. Why? Did you want to? And she said, yeah, I do. And I was kind of surprised. So those 2 individuals, and it really helped having a good friend and a family member like my daughter read it before I released it to the world, because they both found similar errors that needed to be corrected. And there were little things like I shouldn't say little. They were obvious things that I didn't catch, neither did Elena, but they caught it and I was glad. And they were both similar. The friend found a few more things than Erica, but it was really things around like missing a comma, apostrophe, or, singular versus plural, right? That kind of stuff that it just wasn't caught before, but it's all good. So that was my editing experience. And I'm so glad that I had them read it, because it not only validated, it not only helped me with the edits and making sure that there were other things that may have been missed, but it validated me because they were able to give me feedback. Because the people who wrote the reviews or the back of the book, which I didn't do, I didn't have New York Times and Chicago Tribune. I said I'm non-traditional because it's for family and friends. So I have friends that did the reviews. They read drafts to write that. They didn't see the final book is different from what they reviewed. So anyway, now I have those two people, my daughter and close friend. They read through it, and the feedback they gave me, it blessed my heart. My daughter in the middle of the day sent me a message at work. Mom, I just finished your book. And I highlighted a few things, because what I did was I picked up their copies. I said, mark it up, highlight it, do whatever. I picked up their copies and I went through each one and made their changes. But Erica, and this is outside of the public or the editing and publishing process, but my daughter reached out to me and she said, can you call me when you have time? And I'm thinking, oh, she wants to talk about her edits.
Right.
I just want you to know that when I read your story, it reminded me so much of myself. And I'm like, what? Like, what parts? So that's, another story, but that was really emotional. And I said, well, what did you think? And she said, I loved it. I said, would you share it? Is it something you would share with your friends? Because there's some things in there that are kind of like my daughter, Erin told Elijah, nah, you're not ready to read Mom's book. I'm like, but anyway, so when she said that, it validated me and it made me feel like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. And then the same with my friend Bridget. So again, that was my editing experience. So my actual publishing, obviously I'm self-published. Once I finished the edits, had the book cover, had the content, had the edits, now it's time to format. So Fiverr, found somebody on Fiverr. Because I got to the point where, other than my editor, everyone who did the different pieces to the book, the cover, the formatting, my logo, different things that I'm using now, have all looked at me, even if they're from other countries. So I was excited about that. So I found this brother to do my formatting. And when he sent it back to me, at a glance, it was like, oh my God, this is what's up. I love what he did, da 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 da. Yeah. And some things were off. It wasn't quite right. And, by now I'm over it. I done been through so many editors.
Yes.
I'm ready to push, publish. And I'm like, what?
Exactly.
So girl, I went on Amazon and I got those templates, the formatting template, the cover template. I used Canva, my best friend, and I did the formatting myself. I formatted it for Kindle myself. I formatted it for print myself. I had some errors. I had some mistakes. I had to keep going back, because one of the things when you upload it on the KDP, you can see what it's going to look like, how the pages are going to turn. Right. Like I needed the beginning of a part, because I don't really call them chapters, to be on the right side, like when you're reading it. And they were like on the left and some were right. And it was like a lot, but I got through it. So I did that piece. And then the whole Kindle formatting is different from formatting for paper, but they have wonderful templates. And if you have patience, you can just do it yourself, So people are like, I don't want to be bothered, but you're going to have one of two things to get your work done. You either got to have patience to do it yourself or money to get it done right. To be real.
Yeah. Right? Okay. That's fair, because when you're doing, I'm looking at your the binding here. That is, it seems like nothing, but it's something that's very important when you're formatting. Listen, because if it doesn't line up, then the book won't
Exactly. And they
process properly.
and KDP has the book cover template because they do many sizes. So I
Yes.
found the template, and I told them they needed the book size 6x9, and the page count is everything because that's going to determine how big this is. Because some spines aren't big enough for this. You see how tiny mine is, and to me, mine is still. I hate to say this, but I feel like mine could have been better. You know what I'm saying? But
we always do.
I'm a lightweight perfectionist, but like I said, if you have patience and you want to learn all of this because you have the time, you need patience and time, and you just want to do it, then you can do it. But otherwise, make sure you have the money to get it done right, or it'll cause you a lot of heartache and grief. And you and I both know when you're dealing with a lot of people, a lot of different people to do these things. So
Yes, I agree. That's see, this one thing about this platform is to help others that perhaps are interested in wanting to become an author or publisher or illustrator, or just, and also to give them a platform to share, because we don't often have a lot of places to promote ourselves. So tell me about the business aspect of your books, promotions, and how you get that dollar.
Yes. So I wasn't at first, because I'm going to tell you, this is another thing that's intimidating about Amazon. And I'm only releasing through Amazon and through my website right now. But first I was just like, let Amazon do all the work. They could print my books. They could do all of that. They could ship them. They can all of that. But you don't honestly make a lot of money when you publish on Amazon and let them sell it, unless you mark up your price. But what I have learned, or my personal experience, is just because you have a high price on your book doesn't mean you're going to make a lot of money, because you're going to lose somewhere. And the loss may be fewer book sales because people don't want to pay $40 for your book. Right? But if you get it to a reasonable price that you're comfortable with, then, you know, it'll increase your book sales, and you will have I lost that thought, I'm sorry. But anyway, it'll increase your book sales because you have a lower price. Now, when you're doing something like a kid's book where you have all that color, I can only imagine, because I know what I pay for
to print.
My profit is to print. And that's one of the great things about Amazon, is that they can do all of that for you. So when I first started selling my book, I was like, Amazon all the way. I'll take the small percentage because they're releasing it. However, what I did not like about Amazon is the time that it takes, right? So for instance, if you order my book right now, you have Amazon Prime, you'll probably get it in a couple of days. If you order my books, I could sell it. I'm looking at 3 to 4 weeks to get my own book so that I can resell. So that kind of stuff.
Yes, from authors' copies.
Yes. And I'm also noticing that, like, some of them come damaged. They have a lot of different distribution places that print your book. So there's a lot of little challenging with using Amazon. I know there's some other places that you can use to print your book, but right now for me, it's Amazon. So you can buy it through Amazon. But now I don't even send people to Amazon unless they feel more comfortable giving Amazon their payment information than me.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you can buy it on Amazon, or you can buy it on my website. If you buy it on
so you have your website. What is your website?
My website is Fay Latrice, my name.com.
So okay.
Latrice.com. I've had that website for years because I've used it for other, business things that I've done, like DJing. But so Fay@Latrice.com, and I actually have an e-commerce site.
Oh, okay. It's an e-commerce site, the Fay@Latrice.com.
So initially, I had just a regular website, like a pro, so that I can do a lot of different things. I could invoice people when I DJ, I could have forms and all of that. But learned that if I want to do my sales, I needed e-commerce. So I switched from a pro or whatever site to an e-commerce site, and that has been a lifesaver. So it's the Wix Shopify. Shopify is Shopify, and then Wix does the same thing. I don't even know what the difference is. I signed up for Shopify and realized that, wait, I could do the same thing with Wix. And I just stayed with Wix.
Oh,
Whether you go on your phone or on a computer,
mhm.
either on the homepage, you're going to see my image, and I put a picture of the book because that's what I'm promoting. And
Right.
buy now takes you to the page. You buy now. Now, one of the things that I didn't know about, and I'm so glad my daughter discovered this because she's helping me, and this is advice that I would give to people, is if you
Okay.
have family members that have a gift or a talent, and or you want to help them because you see the potential, let them do some of this. Because right now, my youngest daughter, Dee, she just got her MBA. She works a full-time job, but she's been really, really helping me with my site, with thinking through pricing and thinking through my expenses and what makes sense. Because I've taken some hits and some losses, but at the same
Right.
time, I'm learning through it, right? Because it really wasn't, with the book, it really wasn't about the money. I don't want to lose money. It wasn't
Right.
about it was really about just getting the story out, because I feel like the money will come through other opportunities.
Right.
So again, with the site, when I first had it set up to sell the book, it only was set up for PayPal. And I was like, oh, cool. So people can run their stuff through PayPal as a guest or with
Feel
their own.
comfortable. Right.
Guess what? PayPal was taking some of my money. And I said, wait a minute. I understand there's going to be fees and things like that. But I was really, really surprised. And I said,
Really?
because when you have a business PayPal, there's fees. If I just had a regular PayPal,
Right.
but
Right.
I business. But my daughter figured out how to do PayPal and credit debit cards. So now you could use either or. You could do it through PayPal, or you can
Mhm.
just put your card information and run it that way. So that was really good. The other thing about selling your book is making sure that if you're going to sell it, that you have inventory, because you never know things are going to. So I am doing a couple of things. I have blessed people with books. I sell
Yes.
books. I have people go to my websites. Again, some people still go to Amazon, which Amazon, I hate how they pay 60 days later, 30 days. I've been on Amazon since December 15th, and I've only received one payment. So I guess
Oh,
now
really?
more consistent, but that takes a while too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because it's like 60 days, and then you gotta, it'll be like monthly after that. But on the website, I have to make sure I have inventory, because if I want to do certain things, I don't have it. Like my inventory is low right now. I had like 100 books, and I'm down to maybe 20. So I need to order some more books, because I want to be prepared for events and things like that.
Absolutely. Especially when it takes so long for them to come.
My only, color is the front and back, is the cover. And
Yes.
everything else is just black and white. So yeah, it's
Okay,
like,
but because it's colored all the way through. However, the next book that is coming, it'll be black and white inside and just colored outside. So you know how you got that journal from DeBrew for like $5?
mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of difficult to keep it there. I mean, to make any money on it at all.
I know.
If you have a design and maybe you can get it done and know what you want, and then maybe source it out, because that's what I was looking at. I was like, well, it's not going to really work but you can sell it for what you sell it for, $10 and $15. But if your competition is $5, but that doesn't, but maybe that's just a fluke.
Yes, for the journal. Yeah. I'm excited about the journal because one, I've realized, dang, everybody does a journal, but everybody needs journals. So I find out in business, in this game, this spectrum, it's really about you and who you connect with, because it's about support, right? So, but the journal is going to be for the professional and the purpose side of you, right? So it's line pages, and then the opposite page is the create space, where you have half blank, half grid. Because I'm a creator, and I'm like, oh, this would be kind of cool. So that's what I'm looking at. I like that about the one that DeBrew was selling. Because it has all of those pages, and I don't really use the calendar piece, but I like looking at the pieces that have you think about, like, either your to-do list, or, you think about things that you've done or things that you're doing or your dreams or your goals. And, I like all the fluff. So,
Yeah.
oh, the money piece though. Let me just say this too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So of course there's money in the book, but this isn't really the bread and butter. I want to share something that I heard Lisa Nichols say, because I'm a Lisa Nichols fan groupie.
Yes. Okay.
I did one of her coaching sessions, and one of the things she said, because it was speak, write, ignite. I'm probably messing up the name, but it had to do with speaking and writing. I was more interested in the writing piece. There were people on there who said in our group, I don't want to write a book. And she's like, yeah, you do, basically.
Yeah, you better.
Gave them a different thought process on writing a book, especially if you're a speaker. And if you're a writer, you definitely need to be a speaker. But if you're a speaker, you should have a book. And she broke it down how that looks. But this is what she said. She said, this is your business card. This is your credibility, because you will go someplace and you will speak, or you will do whatever you do, and you will give somebody your business card, and more than likely they'll never look at it again. But chances of them throwing your book away are very slim. But this book is your credibility. And I was like, yeah, it really is, because I put this out there. I put this on everything. I love that. And she also made you realize that this isn't where the money necessarily is. It's great if you make some money off of your book, but the money is really going to come from what do you do with it? Whether you do speaking engagements, whether you do like retreats or women's groups. It's like whatever your book or your speaking is about, those are the things that can evolve into, we'll say, wealth building, because it's so much bigger than you writing a book and printing it and selling it, because there's endless opportunities. So I really love that piece. And then recently, like I said, I learned more about the merch. So because I'm doing a lot of things around the text, A Life Worth Living, Loving, Forgiving, Celebrating, or Live, Love, Forgive, Celebrate, I'm doing shirts and hoodies, and I'm all about, kumbaya with this, right?
Right.
Kumbaya, let's, live, love, forgive, celebrate more. Live, love, forgive, celebrate as if today was your last day. I'm like all about the play on words, and I know there's a lot I could do with this. So there's endless opportunities with promoting your book, vendor fairs, events like that, and merch. But the money is not as much in the book as it is with the other products that are a result of the book and speaking. So I just want to say about the money.
So that's your book swag is very important. So book swag is the thing. Is your book the same price on your website as it is on
I did, but what I did on the website, so unlike Amazon, Amazon is going to charge you tax and shipping unless you have Prime. I don't charge either. I have included in the price. So when you order a book on my website, it's just that exact price. And
do you have ebook form?
Yes. So I have. I did it on Kindle though. That's the only ebook I did.
Yes, Kindle.
But I'm glad you asked that, because I'm actually going to be doing audio. So I want to get on Audible. So I need to make sure that I'm on Kindle Direct. So Kindle Direct, where it's just like how I have audio and I have access. So people who have Kindle Direct have access to all of the books.
For free.
For free, yeah. Okay.
And you get paid by the pages.
Ah.
Yes. So